What's happening, Municipal? This is Ashton here. Happy New Year. I think we're just past, I think Larry David says that January 7th is the last day we can say Happy New Year, but hey, Happy New Year. I want to start off just by saying thank you for just the support that we got for the Minnesota series so far as kind of views, engagement, excitement, way beyond what we could kind of possibly expect. And it means the world because obviously it was a lot of like time. It was super fun, but time, effort, energy to make that happen. And the biggest thing is I just want to shout out some of the people who, didn't get much, if any, camera time. I mean, Troy was on there, but like Troy was so fundamental to everything we did. I mean, as far as the level of expertise on photography and knowing what's going on, just incredible. Producer Pax, he was on there, but the whole vision for how he laid this out and the storytelling was him. Incredible work there. Jack, didn't hear anything from Jack, but oh my God, this project does not happen without Jack. Just incredible project management skills. Yeah, like the release date never would have happened without Jack being super on it. And then the mayor, Mr. Figueroa himself, John was kind of the one who, the graphics, John actually, all of that was original music by John, which is just incredible. So yeah, and then of course me and Big just, sing Jackal and Hyde and, just the dumb stuff that we do on camera. But yeah, like just want to say thanks again. So yeah, first episode of this year. Motherfucking Hussey and I, we had a four-ball event together, the Fresno Four-Ball in December. And so this is kind of our story of that experience. So there's kind of three parts to this pod. One is our thoughts before we played any golf. The second part is after we played round one. And then we took about a week to digest and then did a recap together. Um, yeah, and we found that our podcast last year with the four ball and especially with JD was honestly one of our most engaged with episodes. And yeah, we're trying to put out stuff that you guys want to listen to, right? And of course, I'm sure there's people who hearing this and saying, "Cool, I'm turning this off. I don't want to hear them talk about their own golf games." Totally get that. But one thing we're also as a group really focused on this year are really leaning into the things that bring us joy. And for me, four ball with Hussey is going to be a big thing. We're pretty close to signing up for round two of the NCGA four ball and stuff like that. And I think that competition is going to be a theme for all of us in team competition as well. I mean, it's the foundation of what we do with the cookout, crab shack, and all this other stuff. So again, hope everyone had a happy holiday. With that, let's take it to Bryson.
How hard did you push it till I black out? Yes. Numerous times, yes.
What's happening, Municipals? This is Ashton, and
Hi, this is Chris Hussey.
we are sitting in a Hampton Inn? Sorry?
Hampton Inn and Suites.
Hampton and Suites.
Yeah.
In Fresno, California. It is December 6th. This will come out in the new year, but yeah, Huss, why don't you tell the people why we're here and what we're doing?
Of course. Happy to. I think it was maybe a month and a half ago, I was perusing the amateur golf websites and trying to figure out if there's any four-ball tournaments to for Ashton and I to play in. We need a little redemption after our
The DFL boys?
Yeah, the DFL boys, outing at Baylands for the NCGA four-ball earlier in the year. And so, came across the Fresno City Four-Ball Championship for, $440. It's, a team, 2 rounds over here in Fresno at Riverside Golf Course, which is a municipal golf course. And yeah, so we signed up and here we are night before. We are, a couple Miller High Lifes in, a few little tickles of Fortaleza Reposado and had a really interesting and fine dinner this evening. So yeah, we're just chilling now, going over game plan for tomorrow, and that's where we're at.
Yeah, at Mad Duck Brewing, it was delightful.
Yeah. Quack quack.
Quack.
Aflac.
No free ads. No ads at all, actually. Okay, so I think what's important for us to vocalize, we've talked about this a little bit, but let's talk about what didn't work last time and how we're going to adjust that going into tomorrow. So that I can remember, the biggest thing was last time we elected to walk. We thought that would help with our rhythm, but I think we kind of agree that it basically took the team dynamic away because our fateful 8 or 9 that we made on 11 was largely because of a lack of communication. So my first thing is we're going to ride as opposed to walk. We also, I'm kind of embarrassed to say, but I bought us a heater for tomorrow. It's supposed to be 41 degrees with dense fog tomorrow morning. So we bought a little golf cart heater that goes on propane. So we'll keep you posted on that. But that's the first thing I remember. What else do you remember from last time?
I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that, I, for example, am incredibly out of shape and kind of a back nine, and I was carrying
It was hot.
It was hot, but it started off really cold that morning. And I remember my bag was just full of clothes, sweaters, outerwear, and I remember, the back nine at Baylands. My legs were giving out. So I think this will change a little bit. Not because I am in shape now, but because we'll be taking a golf cart.
Yeah.
So I don't have to carry my golf bag. But I do think that having the ability to communicate, keeping each other in check, is going to really help us because, when your communication breaks down and you're on opposite sides of a golf hole and you can't actually go and confer and figure out what to do, that can really put you in some really tough situations. And so this is our goal of tackling that.
Yeah. And I think I don't expect people to remember this, but I think a big part of the the big number we made last time was also partly because we didn't have a cart. I mean, our playing partners were nice and offered their cart, but there was a sense of like, oh, I didn't realize that ball was gone and I don't have time to go back. And so I think that the cart will also help us, should we get in a position where we're out of play, be able to kind of pretty quickly kind of address that. But
we're not going to be out of play, so.
We're not, no. But I think what's helpful is, I was talking about it with, it's like with a couple of people like Nick and my dad today. It's important to remember is like, I think where we, that was our first time, is like how we normally play golf. We like to kind of carry and compete normally against each other. My dad says all the time that there's golf and there's competitive golf. Tomorrow's competitive golf, but, in a different way, right? Where it's like, it's not about like, would I love to walk tomorrow in theory? Like, yeah, sure. But it's about preserving your energy. It's about being able to be a team. It's about, understanding where both balls are and making decisions off of that. And I think part of that for me is also going to be, I think when you and I have played, not even when, like, this isn't even like both either a team or anything else like that, but I think when you and I, like, I think back to our round at Rams Hill many moons ago, we both played really well. And a big reason why is I think that was the first time we'd ever talked about like true commitment. And I remember that day you and I were cart buddies, and we, on every shot, it was like, hey, like I'd be like, I'm going to hit 7. And you were like, wait, like, you don't seem totally, like, we basically had to like say what we're going to do and say like, I'm committed to that shot. And the other person would be like, okay, you're committed. And there was that sort of sense of like, and I think both of our ball striking was like really good because we were picking out specific targets. It wasn't like, because there's definitely times where I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'm just going to take like 20% off of a 9-iron. And like, I'm not committed to that. It's something just like a passing mental thought. And you flare it out there. And so I think the golf cart will also allow us to be more committed, which I think tomorrow, like, my goal is like, sure, we can have a number in mind, but like, if we can just make sure that like, when we walk off the golf course tomorrow, we're like, everything we did was like thoughtful and committed and we communicated it. Like, execution is that's the human part of it. But I think we just make sure we don't do anything that's like flippant, right?
Yeah.
Or like, I didn't really think about that. There's no excuse for that tomorrow.
And I think we both have a tendency to like sometimes get distracted or pissed off by like other people on the course or things like that. And so
or pace of play.
Yeah, but by being in the cart together, we were able to keep each other in check a bit more. Whereas if we're walking down a hole to balls on different sides of the fairway, we're not able to kind of bounce some of these thoughts off of each other. So hopefully all of that together allows us to really stay in that competitive mindset and not really let other people distract us, because everyone's different and they all have their own ways of dealing with tournament golf, and we need to stay together mentally.
Well, and I think about too, like I remember we talked about this on that recap pod, but I think I remember number 7, that short par 4, I believe. I think they had just made we had both just made a bogey, and I remember they both hit bad tee shots, and I could feel their energy shift towards like negativity, and we sort of vocalized to each other that like we weren't going to get caught, like we were not going to get caught up in, like, we have no idea who we're playing with tomorrow. We don't know their vibe. We don't know why they're here, and just like, hopefully enjoying the day, but not like however they come to tomorrow is actually irrelevant to us.
Yep.
I think sometimes I can definitely like sort of accidentally or by default sort of match the energy of the group, which is totally fine if it's like, we're playing a casual round at Carica or Morro Bay. But I think tomorrow it's important to like, it's like what's in our cart stays in our cart, and like whether they're shooting like 60 or 80, or they're like really positive, or because they could shoot 60 and be bitching and moaning about everything still, just trying to keep the energy really focused on whatever we're doing. And also being like honest. Like I think like part of me is like, I've played, have not played a lot of golf this fall. I've had really hot moments, I've had really cold moments, but I think it's also reminding each other that like, there's going to be, my guess is 3 or 4 holes where we're going to have to buckle down together to make a score.
Yep.
But realistically, there's going to be a lot of like ham and egging where it's like, if you hit a bad tee shot, like,
it's all good.
Don't worry, I'll make par. It's all good. It's like, it's also remember that like we're not playing, like we're both playing for a score together. We're not playing for a score individually, and we can ham and egg this to something really good, even though it may feel in the moment like, I've had a bunch of bad tee shots. Like, guess what? I just need you to hit a good one on the next hole.
Yeah,
doesn't matter what you've done before, because I think it's easy to get still in the individual mindset of like, but I haven't really contributed much. Like, I'm gonna need you at some point.
Yeah, you just got to keep going. Trust each other. Should we have a number in mind for the first day, for the first round? I kind of feel like we need some sort of goal. We can't just go out there willy-nilly. I think we need to play towards something.
Well, I think about what JD told us. His big thing, which of course I'm not making fun of you, JD, but like he was totally wrong at the best ball at the last time. I think the guy shoot like 8 under, 9 under, 10 under on punch green.
Well, that was crazy.
Which I still don't understand.
That makes no sense.
I would say like 2 under.
Okay.
Like, or 1.
I say 3, but
okay,
we can say 2.
Yeah.
Let's say 2, and if we shoot 3, even better.
Yeah.
I mean, with conditions, with how cold it's going to be.
Yeah.
Everyone. I think most of the people that are in the championship flight that we're in. That's.
How do they do the flight? I don't even know.
It's
by handicap.
We're in like the the non-stroke.
And is that by handicap? Like if you're an X or below, you're in the championship flight.
Yeah, so we're in the championship flight with no strokes. No, it's all gross. And I think we're like the first like 4 or 5 groups going off.
Meaning we're some of the better players?
Yeah.
Oh.
Meaning some of like they're not letting the net kind of shittier golfers.
I didn't realize that because I was also like, God, why are we going off at 7:15?
Yeah, I think they want they're giving us like the ability to play first, which means we might play last on Sunday.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah,
who knows?
Which if you're following home, what's interesting is I did notice that I think a couple people WD'd. The first group off is a twosome.
Yeah,
how's that going to work? Who's going to fact check their scores? If allegedly the best players go out and shoot like 58 tomorrow, I'm going to be like, interesting. Wow, like no one to like who's going to. My question is who's going to keep their score. I'm not preliminarily throwing shade, but I noticed on the tee sheet it was a twosome, and I'm like, but now that I know that it's the best players, the best guys with no.
That's bad.
Yeah.
We
We'll
could throw
see.
stink.
We'll see. I'm not blaming them. I'm blaming, I think that's a
Jake
tournament thing.
Kawaguchi?
No, Jay,
We've never met.
yeah.
We've never met.
You seem
Jake.
great, Jay.
You seem great. Yeah.
Also,
we'll see you tomorrow.
tournaments are really hard.
Yeah. Oh my God, the ice bowl. Which they're
be-
calling it the ice cup or ice bowl or something like
Bowl. Yeah.
that. I don't know.
Fortunately, no snow, but
Yeah.
yeah. But I think we've done what we can. We've got I kind of did overkill in snacks. I got some good 4-barrel coffee for the morning. We got protein shakes. We got protein bars. We got turkey sticks. We got all kinds of stuff.
You did not go overboard. This is what you always do.
I am not gonna if we play bad, we play bad, but it's not gonna be because our blood sugar crashes in the 10th hole. That's not gonna be what's gonna happen. I guess one thing to I don't want to put this is gonna happen, but I think one thing that we should talk about, just to think about. I remember that when we made the 8 or 9 on 11, basically we fell and we couldn't get up. We couldn't get out of that.
Yeah.
Because I think that we finished the last 3 holes 2 under, but it was way too late. It's too hard to know, but if something bad happens, if we get, we made the joke with JD about he's the training conductor keeping us on schedule. If we're running behind, what should our mentality be? Because I almost went off a safe word, if we make a double and I look at you, I'm pineapple, it's don't
Yeah.
don't
I don't think
because I remember after you made the big number and I was out of the hole, I then hit I hit it in the hazard, you 3-putted and we're pissed, and then we made a bogey on a par 5, and then you hit that pitching wedge off the planet.
that
on
was
the
such
next
a
one.
good pitching wedge. Oh my God.
It was just 40 yards too long.
Yeah. It was 160-yard pitching wedge.
Yeah, but I think we need that moment, if something goes wrong, how do we try to not spiral?
I think maybe this is what we should do is I don't want to complicate it with a code word or anything like that. It's just, let's say we make, an idea is bogeys aren't going to kill us, right, in this, but if we have many bogeys, that will kill us. So maybe the idea is if we have if we either have a double or 2 bogeys within 3 or 4 holes or something like that, we need to
we're 3 over.
we're okay, we need to look at the scorecard. We need to scratch out the first 6 holes or however many, and just be we're starting over right now.
Yeah.
Let's pop some snacks. Let's just kind of reset, rethink, I don't know, switch bags on the golf cart. Who knows? We can completely change things up a little bit.
Yeah. You drive, I drive kind of stuff.
Yeah, maybe that's too complicated, but I think if we just acknowledge if we feel at any point in time, if you or I feel that something is amiss, the train is coming off the rails a little bit.
Yeah.
You just got to raise your hand and be I think something's up.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's where I think the card will help, because I think for me it was obviously when you made that number I knew it, but then it's because when I hit it in the shit on the par 3, I didn't even go to the green. I saw you 3-putt. I saw your body language, and the next hole I just remember you were over in the left weeds looking for your ball, and you're out of the hole, and then that's when it was sort of and I think that's when you actually pulled up the thing and you're you want to guess where we are? And I was we're probably in last. And you're yeah, we're last. And then you airmail the green. Yeah. I think I hit it in the hazard.
Oh, it was such a good. Oh, sorry.
No, yeah.
No, I think what we just need to recognize early is if we start to see wheels falling off.
Yeah.
And just regrouping a little bit.
Have a snack, change who drives, just kind of mix up the energy. Yeah. Because I think that's one thing. It's it's something you don't want to think about, but I think that I think that's one of those things that when I think about when someone says don't think about something, the first thing you do is think about it.
Yeah.
It's acknowledge that look, could we go out tomorrow and make 4 birdies and no bogeys and shoot 68? Maybe.
Yeah.
Something probably is going to go wrong tomorrow. I actually think about this the other day. Andy Johnson on I think the Fried Egg Pod, he was saying that for a lot of mid-ams, he was he was talking about like birdies versus bogeys and stuff, and he was like, for a lot of mid-ams, it's 14 pars, and really what it comes down to is what you do in those last 4 holes. And I think that like we're not like good enough individually, probably like yet. We're close, but like we're not good enough on our own ball to be thinking that way. But together, that's a good way to think about it, right? Yeah. It's like if we make 14 pars, there's going to be like realistically, there's going to be 4 holes tomorrow that like make our whole day. Where it's like if those are birdies versus doubles, that's our like that's we're talking about 1, 2, 3 shot swings. Yeah. But I think it's important in those moments to like acknowledge that, and like I think actually by saying that actually kind of frees you up as opposed to like what's going on. It's like no, I mean this is kind of what we expected, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah. I'm feeling it.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
And give the people a sense of like you did some scouting. Like what do we expect on the golf course tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean Riverside seems to be like a pretty
Billy Bell.
Yeah, Billy Bell design, from a long time ago. It looks like tiny greens, shrunken greens. Very municipal kind of style. Not architecture, but kind of groundskeeping. It just seems a little scruffy. I don't know what the bunkers are going to be like, but I expect them to be kind of shitty bunkers. Could be wrong. But I think the greens, they look okay, decent putting wise. I think it's just going to be a lot of, courses in front of you, not a lot of blind shots. There might be a few dog legs, but, this is a course where, there's 5 par 5s. Like we should be making, at worst par on all those holes.
One goal that I think is undeniable is we should be under par on the par 5s both days.
Totally.
Like that to me is like a given.
Yeah. With like, our length, yeah, absolutely.
Not like we can go crazy, but like just under par.
Yeah. No, I completely agree because everyone else is going to be under par on the par 5s.
Yeah.
I think that's 100% needs to be a goal. Yeah. We got to take advantage of those par 5s. Go for them. It doesn't look like there's too much trouble on the course. So I think, we just send it. I know there's trees, but that's okay.
Yeah. And again, we got to remind ourselves it's only one of our scores that matters. So
it's true. All right.
Okay.
Let's get some rest.
We'll do one of these tomorrow night and then after. So this will be kind of like, you'll hear just the next conversation next, but get some sleep. We'll report back tomorrow.
We'll take some videos, photos, stuff like that, and it'll get compiled at some point.
Yeah. Shout out to Jack.
All right.
Okay. Peace.
Good night.
What's happening, Municipals? It's Ashton and Chris after day one. Huss, how you feeling?
I'm okay. I'm doing okay. Yeah, it's hard to put a lot of these feelings into words. We basically shot 79.
One better than last time. We are tied for dead fucking last. 80 would have done it again. 80 would have put us in DFL.
But yeah, I think overall, it didn't feel like the round was that bad. We didn't have any true blow up holes or anything like that. It was just a lot of things just weren't going our way.
It was a lot of bogeys.
Bogeys.
We made one double, 2 birdies, and a lot of bogeys.
And a 3-putt par on 18 from 8 feet by yours truly, Mr. Christopher.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
It feels like, I feel like I guess we should set the scene.
Yeah.
So we woke up this morning to, let's just say this is fog that would make Presidio proud. But it's not it's everywhere. It's we looked up and we were mainly worried about the cold. It's a dense fog advisory. We were literally staying across the street from the golf course, and we were going 5 miles an hour just to make sure we didn't.
Visibility was 20 yards. It was terrible.
Yeah, and we were pretty confident when we got there was going to be a pretty big delay or something, because when someone when a car drove 15 yards ahead of you, you couldn't see it anymore. Yeah. So the long story short is there was no delay. We teed off at 7:15 as planned, and it got better at the turn, but the first 9 holes was essentially guesswork.
Yeah.
And this is where I think it's hard because we're trying to both not feel bad for ourselves because ironically we played worse on the back 9, which, I mean, that's probably the answer. But like, it's very hard to play a golf course you've never seen, which we were cool with, but then not actually be able to have any sense of where you're going. And our playing competitors were, like, to be clear, they were giving us advice, but they're locals, and they were trying to kind of help us with where to aim because we had no clue. And they were trying their best, but there was definitely a couple holes where, like, we did what they said, and it was like, oh, we needed to be 20 yards left of that or 15 yards right of that. And so I think what was hard was, I think we started off bogey. But I mean, for context, to tell you how crazy it was, on the first hole, I had 107 yards in, and we kind of both agreed on...
We think this is where the green is.
And we literally never found my golf ball.
Yeah.
And I hit like just a normal wedge. We looked short, we looked long, and just never found the golf ball. So that was a bit perplexing. But yeah, I think it feels, even though the number is similar, it feels remarkably different than last time. Because the thing we talked about yesterday, which you just heard, was we were talking about how we weren't going to let, when we felt the train go off the tracks, we were going to try to not let that carry on. And even though we played worse on the back, we made a double on 11, but then Hussey came right back with a birdie. And like, we were totally fine. I just think it was sort of like death by paper cuts. And we made a couple mistakes, like a couple things I went up to. Like, there was a par 5 on the back when I hit a good driver, a good hybrid. And I like wasn't totally sure what to do with the chip. I picked the wrong way to chip it. I kind of boned it over the green and made bogey. Like made bogey from like, not just off the green, but a place that I should make
10
bogey.
yards. Yeah.
I should make bogey there 0 times out of 100. Par probably usually with that chip, but... And then you hit like the putt on 18 that was like you hit an 8-foot putt 10 feet past the hole.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So I think those are like 2 we could have had back, and that would have been 77, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's also challenging because we looked at the numbers. I mean, some guy shot 60 today.
Yeah. A group shot 60, which is insane.
And they teed off later than us, but like, I mean, they beat us by 19 shots.
Yeah, I mean, they're also like +4 handicaps.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that, compared to them, like if we play in a match with them, they would give us 7 strokes.
Yeah. And also too, I don't know about those guys.
Still wouldn't have helped, but
yeah. It seems also too like a lot of the people here are locals.
Yeah.
I know this golf course very well, and we do not. But yeah, I don't know, like I think that like we're not trying to be delusional, like, but I think like we're both excited to have tomorrow. Because, well, I guess we should also say, we'll see about this when you recap after tomorrow. It's supposed to be there's the same fog warning tomorrow, so like we might not see anything.
Sick.
And we're doing a shotgun start, and we actually start on probably 3 of the 4 hardest holes on the course.
Yeah.
So I think for us, our goal is to like play the first 4 holes like even par.
Yeah.
And I think our goal tomorrow is even par. We'd be proud of that. But yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. Like, it's not good audio, but it's like I don't really know how to feel. I mean, I had a blast competing with you. Ironically, one of our playing competitors is someone we played against in the 4-ball, which was kind of funny to have like at Baylands, so like a familiar face. And I wasn't nervous today. Like I was nervous in NCJ. I wasn't today, but yeah, just kind of like when we finished, it was like, how did we shoot 79? We're like at Baylands, it was like we shot 80.
Yeah.
Like, we knew we shot 80.
Yeah.
Today was like, do we really just shoot 79?
What I really am proud of us is we really stuck to the process that we came up with. We were able to correct and recognize when we were falling off the tracks a little bit. But, being committed, being in a cart together really, I think, is incredibly helpful and useful when you're playing in a 4-ball tournament, because you can really bounce things off each other, and it's much more fun. And it's, especially when it's cold out.
Yeah. We will say we'll give a free ad. Mr. Heater ruled.
Mr. Heater. Yeah.
It was great. We finally got it to work. The little propane guy, I mean, it was cooking all day. That was a good purchase. But again, we were worried about the cold, and it turns out that the fog was really the problem. But I think the other thing, to give people some perspective, it's like, it's a quirky little golf course.
It's
like,
cool. I think it's pretty cool.
No, totally. I mean, it's old school. I think the only thing that's a bit of a disgrace is like the greens have shrunk. Some of the greens have shrunk like comically. I mean, like if I'm sure many of you have, like, we're talking about like greens that make like Del Monte look big,
Tiny.
like smaller than Del Monte.
Yeah.
And they're like pretty quick too. So it's like there's not a lot of like pinnable space, and there's like, I remember the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th
hole.
I mean, they put the pin kind of at the bottom of this hill. Again, there's only kind of one hill because it's such a small green. And I missed mine. Again, I didn't really know anything about the golf course. So I missed it above the hole. And there's not really an opportunity to like, there's really like a one tiny spot to leave it to make a putt. And it just, you have to hit it in like a tiny window to make that happen. So
I think it's a cool course. Conditions are not that great.
It's municipal golf.
It's municipal golf. There's ratty grass. There's a lot of dead spots on the greens. You were putting through, dead spots here and there, but for the most part, the greens ran pretty true. They were pretty fast, and honestly, I'm looking forward to playing and seeing like the front nine, because we didn't really see the front nine.
Yeah, and I think there's learnings too that, like, I think the 2 days is helpful, where it's like we basically learned today that the way to chip out here is kind of back foot bump and runs. Like, don't try to put like both the firmness of the ground combined with the grass is just not conducive to that. So I don't know. I mean, I think that, like, there's like many things that we'll process over time, but I think that as we pick, hopefully several of these a year to do, it's like, we might not have the ability to do this, but like, as we think about, for example, what we want to do for the NCGA, it's like, it really should be a golf course that we've at least seen like one time, right? It just felt like, even though those guys were trying their best to help us, like, it felt
there's only so much.
It felt like we were playing with our hands behind our back a little bit at times.
A bit blindfolded, literally.
Yeah. But I don't mean even just like with the fog. I mean, there's definitely times where it's like, didn't really know that. Like, a good example, like the par 5 where I was up by 2 and made bogey. I told you it's like, tomorrow when I lay up, I'm going to aim way farther left, and then you have an angle. And I didn't know that. And that's something they should tell me, like, at all, right? But like, you do that one time and you never do that again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know this probably isn't the most like descriptive. I think we're still sort of like processing our feelings. Also really nice that people reach out, and kind of embarrassing to, be like, oh, we're actually tied for last.
Yeah, we're not. Well,
but I think that I'm pretty optimistic about. I think tomorrow's going to go better.
I'm going to have so much fun tomorrow.
Yeah, I think tomorrow's going to be a lot more fun. And also, now that we know, like, I'm going to expect the fog, and we're just going to, like, because, I mean, really, when we pulled in today, it was like, there's no way we're going to play in this. And suddenly it was like, now on the tee,
we're on schedule.
Chris Hussey from NorCal Golf Guys. And yeah. Yeah, go Chris. That was me, actually.
Where do I go? Where's the hole?
Yeah. I got up there and just hit like just a dead snap.
It was a skanker. Yeah.
Fortunately, that was the only one of the day that I got there, and I was like, this might be a.
No, the pro was like, yeah, I think that's a re-tee.
And ironically, we found that one, and then we lost my wedge in the middle of the fairway. Yeah. So. But we'll definitely have more thoughtful thoughts. But this is what it sounds like when you're in the middle of competing and trying to process everything.
And you've had quite a few beers after watching a full afternoon of college football. Yeah. And a few sips of some beautiful Fortaleza Reposado tequila. Thank you very much for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Ashton.
Yeah, I mean that is the fun of it. Like, being able to be done at lunchtime, come back, take a shower. Yeah, we watched the Georgia game. Go Dogs. We watched the SMU game. Nick, I'm really sorry about that. Watched the Oregon game, Sko Ducks. It was really, really fun. So, I don't know.
Sko Ducks.
The thing is, like, the other thing, just to, I think we both feel too, though, is like, for anybody who's still thinking about, you might be listening to this, be like, wow, so these guys are telling me to sign up and they show up and come in dead last and spend the weekend away from their families. The big thing though is like, it's just so much fun to have like, so I say it's about the golf and not about the golf. It's just like to be able to have an excuse to spend time together and, talk about life and catch up is like, by the time we leave here, like we're in good touch, but like,
Yeah.
I'm going to know everything that is going on with you. And like, that's a huge blessing. And
Yeah. And we've, we definitely get to know a little bit about Fresno.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Crickets.
Yeah. We went to, what was it? Boneyard?
No, dude, doghouse. Boneyard, bonehouse, doghouse. Oh my god.
I just watched a bunch of Fresno people just tearing ribs covered in like sticky sweet barbecue sauce. I keep thinking Bonehouse. I don't know. Yeah. But also, we did get the tacos, Patty. They were good. So thank you for the suggestion there. But no, I think it's been great. I think we're feeling obviously a little bit deflated. But tomorrow we're going to battle and we're going to kind of understand we're probably not going to see the first 9 holes very much and hope it burns off. But we're gonna give it another go. Okay. Peace.
Okay, bye-bye.
It is Monday, December 16th, so it's been 8 days since our last since we competed in the Fresno Four-Ball. And we've had a little bit of time to digest, but we're still digesting. But we thought a little bit of a recap because I think our I think our last the last segment you just heard we're pretty down in the dumps, and I think we're still kind of processing it because narrator we didn't really play much better the next day.
We played one stroke better.
Yeah, but anecdotally, it felt much better because we played well in the back nine. But yeah, how are you feeling, Hussey? Now that we've had a week, just for the people, we came in DFL again. Again.
Yeah, dude, you got to put out some merch. It's like the DFL boys or something.
Yeah.
Like I would buy it, obviously. But I mean, I knew when we were signing up for this that like I wasn't sure exactly who was going to compete in it. It was the Fresno City Four-Ball Amateur Championship. And I was like, oh, it's going to be some hacker. It's not like going to be, a good competition. And we show up and we're like one of the first tee times. And like we're paired with some dude that we played with at Baylands for the NCGA four ball
Who made it? Who
earlier that year.
qualified?
Yeah, who qualified. And so we're like, oh, okay. So it's kind of like, it's a lot of mid-ams. This dude, has 2 kids. He's, older guy. Well, I don't know how old he is. Cody, hi. Cod man.
Yeah.
But so that was the first day. The second day was a shotgun start, and we show up, and like Ashton pointed this out, was like, why are there so many college golfers here? There's Fresno State golf bags. There's Sacramento State golf bags.
It looks like we were at a college tournament.
It looked like we were at a college tournament. It turns out this
Kind
was
of
like
were.
a sanctioned amateur, like you could get like amateur points, like USGA or whatever
Do we get any
it,
points for last place?
I don't think so. But the way you said it was like, and here we have, a winemaker and a recruiter trying to like hack ourselves around this golf course
Oh,
against these
and
guys.
also too, again, not to make too many excuses, but a golf course they haven't seen, and then also they also haven't seen because
Yeah.
it's opaque.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen what we didn't see,
There'll
basically
be a
on,
reel with this where we
yeah,
can Jack will kind of post what conditions were like so people have a
yeah.
sense.
It was just hitting and praying, your golf ball into the abyss. And I remember on the first hole of the first day, the starter who's announcing us says, "Oh yeah, there's going to be a spotter in the middle of the first fairway." There was no spotter, and it was like,
Well, then it's like,
so.
what about all the next stuff? Like, it's like the
What
first
about
tee shot's
holes
that important.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Which we didn't see the actual, hole until maybe hole 9, hole 10 on the first day.
I mean, don't
Oh,
forget, I said this on the last segment that people just heard, but like I had a wedge in my hand in the middle of the fairway and I never found the ball.
Yeah.
that's how
We
the
didn't know
tournament
where to
started.
go. We had no idea where to go. And like we were, if you're playing by the rules, like the guys that we were playing with were definitely breaking the rules because they were like, I would, recommend playing this side of the
Yeah.
fairway versus that's, and it was like, ah,
I
whatever.
actually really
This is,
appreciate that they were willing to do that though, because
yeah,
without some guidance, like, I mean, to be clear, it wasn't very fun anyway,
yeah,
but it really wouldn't have been any fun if we, I mean, there's some holes where I would have aimed like directly into like hazard or
totally.
directly into out of bounds because we couldn't see.
Yeah, I think we all realized this was kind of a bullshit tournament in the sense that like, how can you really set us off, in fog where you can't see more than 30 yards ahead of you? But hey,
Yeah.
it is what it is. Everyone kind of within the first, 2, 3 hours had to play in that conditions. What was nice was on Sunday they made it a shotgun start and required everyone to kind of go through 9 holes of that fucking shit. But people still played really well, and therefore, we have no real excuse other than we just didn't play good enough, and that's okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like we're just not as good as everyone
Yeah.
else at this tournament, and that's totally fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's the thing. I think that like knowing there's all these college kids, like, were we ever going to shoot what, 21 under? No.
No,
Even if it was like, let's say that like we're playing Karika, conditions are perfect. Like we're not doing that, right? Or Soul
no,
Park, right? Like one of course, you and I can like take it deep on, make a bunch
no.
of birdies. We're not doing that. But like I think where I felt deflated was like maybe I'm an idiot. Like I thought that the learnings of last time, like I didn't see. I don't want to over index on being last, but I didn't see us coming in last again.
Sure.
But I don't know. I mean, I think where I've come out on is I'm and look, for posterity's sake, I'm not trying to be negative. We could come in last again. However, I'm really excited to play, first time golf course punch greens. This time golf course didn't know, couldn't see. I was talking to Big about it. Like I think that for us, it's like because we have lives and there's only so much we can do. We're gonna do this a few times a year.
Yep.
We pick a golf course we have seen or like plan to see, right? And also selfishly, this is not, I don't want to make this anything about Fresno. Also a place too where like we kind of want to like spend the weekend together. Shout out to the Big Dog Boneyard wherever we hung out. But uh
Boo,
the,
boo, boo. Come on,
the,
you're a dog. What are you complaining about?
oh God, all the people tell me they liked my UGA jacket. I'm like, it's not Fresno State, guys. It's the Georgia Bulldogs. Like, Uh, but I think it's just like, but we're learning. And like time one was just like things moving quickly. Let's ride in a cart. Where I think this time is like, look, I have no regrets about this weekend. You and I had a great time, but I think now it's like, um, not all four-ball tournaments are good four-ball tournaments for us, right? It's like pick a better venue, pick a better location, pick a golf course we know something, right? I think that that's my learnings. And then I think the other thing that I wanted to get to eventually is I want to try to understand why we were like why was the last 9 holes markedly different? Because for people listening, the shotgun start, it was quote unquote good to protect the field, but incredibly bad for pace of play. I think we played the front
Yeah,
nine, but by the time we finished and then got breakfast, and to be clear, we got breakfast because the wait was so long. By the time we were hitting our tee shots on the back nine, which was the front nine of the golf course, we were at 3 hours and 15 minutes, 3 hours and 20
hmm,
minutes. And we
yep,
were sitting on nine or whatever, 18 T. And I looked at Hussey and I was like, if there hadn't been fog, we probably just would have quit. We're going
yeah.
home. We'll get home 3 hours earlier. This is super slow. So I do want to unpack like why we played better because like vibes were at an all-time low. But before we get there, I want to make sure that you have space to share more of your thoughts because I really think that like it's just we need more reps and we need a golf course that's receptive to us playing good golf, and we probably need to have seen it before. And this was a
Uh-huh.
perfect storm of cold, wet, fog, everybody there is either incredibly good and or locals. Like I gotta think that we were the only people to travel the way that we traveled for that tournament, which is fine, but that also means that we're probably set up for failure, candidly, right?
Yeah, and when you compare us to the college golfers, it's like we don't
Their games
easily play
travel.
golf. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, it's completely different situations. And, you know, I think maybe the next time we do this where we're at a friendly tournament in the sense that we know the place, you know, we both admittedly really like to play golf when it's hot out.
Yeah, I do.
Um, you know, maybe that'll change. And if it doesn't, if we become, you know, the DFL boys a third time, hey, maybe it's just not for us, man. Maybe we should just
Or
not
just
play
keep
tournament golf. Let's just play, you know, vibes, be apathetic, and just like be happy to be out there for the weather. I mean, like, come on, man. Who knows? So we just gotta try like a different venue at a different time. You know, never play golf or a tournament, you know, in December
yeah.
anywhere except maybe Florida or Palm Springs. But I agree with you. I can't wait to pick and choose a much better venue that's a bit more friendly to us. Maybe not literally friendly, but you know, in our minds is friendly.
Yeah.
That we're comfortable at, that we've been to. I completely agree with that.
Yeah. But I think the thing that is a positive that sounds obvious, but I think is worth noting is like it has made me like I haven't been able to yet just because it's the holidays and it's cold and days are short and work is busy, but it makes me want to get better. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, I've played some really good golf this year, but that was not good golf. I did not play good golf. I think that we kind of both like look like there was a lot of like course conditions, blah blah blah. Um, like we talked about this, but I mean like just it's top of mind. I mean, we both we both three putted from 10 feet like four times we could like we should have been, and I carried most of the burden for this. We should have been three under on our final nine holes just by not being brain dead, right? Like I missed a 3-footer on 18 for birdie or for par, whatever. But like, right, like
yeah,
pretty quickly. But like, it just makes me want to get better, right? It's like
yep,
because you kind of start to smell blood in the water, and it's like, let's go, let's put the gas pedal down. I mean, to your point, I think that like I find it hard to put the gas pedal down when it's like cold and wet and it's like 40 degrees and we can't see. But yeah, it just makes me want to like feel more like I was more comfortable, but I mean like get up there and like swing freely, right? And I don't think we weren't nervous. We were nervous for the NCGA one, but I feel like yeah, just like getting better and feeling more confident and getting up there and being like, no matter what, like let's wail on it. I mean, even you've been singing me swings over the last week. Your golf swings become like a little less rotational, a little less more aggressive, right? Like you could see it in the videos where it's like I don't really care what happens, but it's like the two things for you, it's like golf swing wise, it's like again, don't worry about playing and all this shit. It's like aggressively rotate through the golf ball and hit it. And with your putter, stop fucking thinking about like dying speed, all this shit. Like just your best golf we know is when you're just an athlete, right? Like
yeah,
I mean, I know people are like, oh, I've heard that before, but like when you kind of are aggressively rotating through the ball and you hit dangers, that's when your long game is great. And those putting, it's just, looking at that I kind of did talk to my little black dot and
yeah.
go,
It's just
but
catch
you're
and shoot. Yeah,
yeah, and I can't tell you what it was for me, but I wasn't being catch and shoot either. I mean, it also helped. Number one, I had a snap hook that like shook me to my core. Which I didn't do another one. It was just number one, but like we're getting off number one, and it's like yikes! Like I just want to be freed up and play better golf, and I don't think we did that at all this tournament.
I think the last nine holes, and I think this is where we can get into unpacking why we played so well in those last nine
Yeah,
holes, which, you know, for the record, we were six over. So the second day, we were six over on the front nine in
which
literally
is the back
pure
nine.
fog. Yeah, yeah, the back nine, technically, in pure fog. Um, and then when we made the turn, you know, we started on one. And I think at that point, we played even par, played really, really good, solid golf. I think that was when we're like, look, we got nothing to lose. You know,
Yeah,
we've got, you know, breakfast burrito that we've just, you know,
destroyed.
thrown down. And, you know, I found, I don't know, 20-ounce cans of Miller High Life, champagne of beers. This is
24 ounce, 24.
no, this is 24. This is a free advertisement. Um, and I don't know. I started
We
playing
should
really
take the
well.
High Life. We should take the High Life bottle and just do DFL in the font and just put that on a t-shirt.
Totally. Yeah, and I played really well. I think, I want to say I had two birdies. I can't fucking remember now.
Yeah, you
Um,
you you had two, I had one.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and our unforced errors were I had a great 7-iron on a par three, and then three putt from 12 feet down the hill, and then 18 on a par five. I three putt from 12 feet down the hill. Um, Also, I'm planting the flag now. Broom is going full. We're going full broom next
Hell
year.
yeah. No, I love
Not
it.
because I missed a couple of three footers, but because like I just feel more comfortable with the broom. But
Dude, it's like a football team that uses two quarterbacks still. Doesn't make sense, doesn't work, don't ever
it's
fucking
true.
try it. Commit and go. Like,
Yeah,
and I think at this point, even if you're playing on shitty greens, like you said, the broom doesn't really
yeah,
work well on slow greens. Just use it because it's
yeah.
more reps and it's more
It,
comfortable.
if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. If you have two
Yeah,
putters, you have none. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Even
But
if
I
you have
think
one
like
putter, you might not have one.
is it dog speed? Oh.
Oh my God, dude. I'll never forget three putting out of, from 8 feet after putting it on two on a par five. That was the best par I've made, or worst par, excuse me.
That was ugh, ugh.
I had a longer par putt than I did, or I had a longer birdie putt than I did eagle putt.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was pretty bad. But what it
yeah.
was, and I think, you know, recently Ash and I both watched separately, um, Neil Schuster on No Laying Up. They No Laying Up just put out this his mid-am qualifier at a really really cool golf course out in Long
That place
Island.
looks
The
sick.
bridge, it looks so cool.
Like
But
yes.
halfway through, I think it was halfway through, maybe a quarter of the way through, there was just this whole conversation about like putting and Neil just being so confused about like speed and line and like all this stuff.
They literally said
And
dying speed, and I was like, "Oh my god,
yeah,
this is the conversation we were having last week."
yeah. And I was having these thoughts because for I want to say like 2 months now, I've been like, these short, 3, 4, 5 foot putts, I'm just gonna take break out and just hit it really hard and just kind of dunk it in. And I've gotten to the point where now like my 8 footers, I'm kind of doing that a little bit. And it's kind of ruined kind of the philosophy behind this, like take out the brake, because you can't really take out the brake on an 8 foot putt. So, um,
Yeah.
Ashton's recommendation, the night before our second round was, dude, just forget about it, just feel and just don't think too much about the putt and just find the spot and just feel the putt and just kind of let it die in. And I did
No,
that night.
look, I didn't say die in. My whole thing was like, don't be thinking about that. Like, it's not die in or jam it in. I mean, there's
Sure,
certain
yeah, yeah,
times around where it might be like, certainly all of us might be like, it's you're one up in the match, you're feeling a little wobbly. I feel more comfortable hitting it hard, sure, but it's mainly again like what I did to help me putt that you got on was the I'm a good putter, which also too just anecdotally, I don't think you and I are saying that anymore to ourselves, right? We're
sure,
not telling ourselves we're good putters, which was when we both putted great. But it's just that feeling of looking at the dot and like catch and shoot, right? And trusting that your body is going to the analogy is like it's like you shooting a free throw and being like, I want this free throw to bounce once on the front of the rim and then go in.
yeah,
It's like, what are you doing? No, you look at the rim and you shoot, right? And
yeah, 100%.
unless you're making a conscious effort to do that, there's a reason why. Again, if you and I are playing in a best ball event, and we're tied for the lead, and you're like, I'm uncomfortable and I want to take out the break. Awesome, but that doesn't mean you're thinking about that every time, right?
Yep. I think I'm gonna take that back to all aspects of my game now. Like when I go to the
Yeah.
range tomorrow morning, which I'm gonna do, and similarly after, the Sunday after the four ball, as soon as I got back home, the next morning I went back to the range because I
You're like
wanted to,
Bryson on Friday night at a major.
dude, I needed to get it out of my system. And I think tomorrow when I go to the range, it's going to be all about catch and shoot and just being athletic as opposed to like standing over the ball, double check it. Like I just want to
Yeah.
like commit to the line. And even if like I get up to the ball and I'm misaligned, I'm gonna be okay with that. I think my focus tomorrow is gonna be just get up there. I'm gonna have a stick down to just, make sure I'm in
Yeah.
that, right, aiming zone. But my focus is like I'm gonna be over the ball for a split second or maybe a
Yeah.
second at the most, and then just
Yeah.
go. Like I want to get
Hmm.
back to like watching basketball recently, college basketball, it's like there's just so much twitchiness and like instant action
Yeah.
that I'm missing. And that
Hmm.
I am I am not a good long distance runner. I am terrible. My wife, for example, could run a marathon easily. I I can sprint. I'll do a sprint super easy. And
Yeah.
I maybe I need to like remember that. Like I'm all about twitch and feel. I'm not about, getting super comfortable in a certain situation, like standing over the ball and then executing. That's not me.
Yeah. To, Dude, I totally feel it. It's a weird comparison, but it's like I've been doing I finally, after a year, I've been doing the stack. And a big thing that I've been doing is just like when, because it counts down between swings, like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But really what I do is like now over your driver. It's that feeling of, because as I've documented on here, I've had some like driver, torture dreams in the past. It's getting up over it and literally my head going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then it's like whatever's going on, right? And it's going, and to your point, it's that same feeling as I'm speed training. It's that feeling of like, I think about Rory, it's like the constant movement, right? Where it's like my feet are moving a little bit. And
Yep.
it's like, it's sort of like I think about like it's the thing I think about all the time. It's like the thing I've said on here before, maybe even to you, Brooks's thing about trying to make golf a reactive sport. It's almost impossible. That like I think about that all the time. But that's the feeling, right? It's like if you're gonna like if you're a linebacker, you're not just gonna like stand there, hit like, okay, they're about to hike it, and you're gonna put your hands on your knees and just stand there. It's like you're gonna kind of like, to your point, twitchy, that kind of like ready to go. It's that same feeling, but to your point, it's like if you go back and look at some of these videos, like even you, like you're standing over the ball for like fucking 10 seconds, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and to be clear, you're not playing slow. It's just like it's that extra like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and you kind of do your like whoop de doop like chunk, and it's like no, no, no. It's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Fucking
rotate hard.
go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, rotate hard. Same thing with putting, right? It's like pick your line, look, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like just trying to make it
Yeah.
more reactive. And in fairness to us, I think the hard part is like when you and I are like hanging out and it's warm and all, but like I think the hard part, in fairness to everybody, is it's tournament golf, right? When I think about Neil, Cody was talking about it. It's kind of the opposite. But when he chunked that wedge, he's like, it's the opposite. Things are moving too quickly, right? It's like in tournament golf, it's so much of it is self-regulation of understanding, like, hey, things are moving super fast. I've been doing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I need to chill out. Or it's the opposite around like, hey, I'm analyzing every inch of where my feet are. I kind of just need to like pick a spot and go. It's like my dad used to say as a kid, be target oriented, right?
Yeah.
Like look at where you're trying to go and then go. Don't analyze too much about like, is my toe aimed slightly open? Is my club face, some of that's important, but I think that yeah, just being more of an athlete will help us play better golf. But I think in these settings, yeah, I don't know. It's like we kind of said last time around grading ourselves. It's like next time it's almost like we tell each other, hey, that's my shot, I'm going to commit. And then it's like you're counting down, like both of us, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the person's going to pull the trigger. And if we do that, nothing else matters, right? You're
Yep.
committed, you're over the ball for 5 seconds, you go. That's it.
God, I can't wait. I can't wait to play this again. I mean, we have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
If we come last, hey, we haven't gotten worse.
Yeah. But
But
like, I
that's
don't
not
know. I
gonna
mean,
happen.
it's one of those things though, that like, it's so hard. Like, I think what's so torturous, and maybe this is the answer is like our best golf. I mean, well, I guess you could say, playing the front nine at even was great, but like, I think at Baylands we birdied two of the last three of the last four, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then this thing, so I mean, I think what it is like maybe it's also psyching ourselves out. Like at one point, and I give you a lot of credit, we made a double and you drew a line on the card, which I love. It's almost like going into the next time, we draw a line at the beginning, right? And it's like, instead of being like, because some people start a golf tournament, they're like, I'm tied for first, right? It's like, no, we're in last. We're having that
Yeah.
mentality, right? It's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't fucking matter. Nobody cares. Like,
Yeah.
we've had some of our close friends ask how we did, but nobody we don't know is texting like, hey, saw
You
you
guys
guys were at
suck.
DFL in Fresno, right? It's like, doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
But I think that's the mentality, right? Around like like this time we weren't as nervous, but I think there's a difference between the nerves we had at NCGA, the whatever we felt in Fresno, and next time being like,
I think we were just happy to be there. In a
yeah,
weird way. Like
we
we hadn't
were.
seen each other in a while, and we just wanted to go out there and you know, a little cocky, and got ourselves handed to us. But
And
yeah,
knowing no matter how we played, we had a bottle of Fortaleza and a bunch of college football to hang out, which is a
yeah,
great consolation prize.
100%. It's funny you mentioned that I drew the line on the scorecard after the double because we proceeded to make bogey on the next two holes, and then I drew another line. I don't think it worked.
I think that's when I looked at you and I was like, let's try to like break 90, man. Like
Yeah.
we pull up to we pull up to the next tee. There's two groups on the next tee. There's guys playing like fucking like journey cover, and I'm just
Oh
like,
my God.
there's
Yeah.
like pit bulls barking, and I'm like, I am so like, I was like, by the time I get home and take a shower, like we're talking like 6, 7 hours. We have so much time until we get home.
It was a yacht rock version of Hotel California. You remember? It was
That's
like a remix to it that made no sense and it was terrible. Oh,
uh and also just like the dad culture of like so much just like to be clear, like I'm not like, it wasn't like inappropriate. Like you think about like locker room talk and stuff, it's just like the way people talk, where Hussey and I are just like, this just isn't how we like interact with the world in any way, shape, or form. Like it's
yeah.
just and it's taken us what 2 hours to play 5 holes, and there's the two groups on this tee.
Yeah, and they all
Yeah,
know each other, and that was like, we were
yeah,
just it was like a social gathering for, all the Fresno City golfers, and so be it. I mean, it's our
yeah.
fault for playing like shit and being at the back of the bus with everyone else who played like shit, and it's just there for a good time.
Yeah, I mean, we did reap what we sowed. I mean, that's definitely, yeah, definitely on us. But yeah, I think that's the mentality. I think that like going, I think just this is not as much about four ball. It's just for our games. It's trying to be more reactive, trying to be more freed up as we kind of prepare. And then I think it's, yeah, I mean, I actually sort of like the idea of having the mentality of, hey, we're in last place and anything we do is gravy, right? And instead
Yeah,
of being like, we're tied for first. We make a birdie on one, our name's at the top of the leaderboard. It's like, no, we're in last
yeah,
place, and anything we do is gravy. I think that mentality is, well, because we're gonna find something that works. Like, I feel weird saying this, but like we're both good enough golfers and we work well together. We're gonna find something that works. Because like we've said in the past, the thing is like the whole origin of this was JD. Like we're looking at the scorecards and it's like, wow, if I did this and you did this, but it's really different than like us playing our own ball, not processing being a team, and then like looking after the fact of what we shot. It's super different than driving, in my case, 4 hours to Fresno, getting a hotel, being in a tournament. It's different, right? And even though we work really well together, it's a different dynamic.
well,
And we'll
maybe
find something that works.
maybe some people would argue, Ashton, that we should just not see each other. We'll drive to Fresno, separately, stay at a hotel separately, don't see each other the
True.
night before, show up to, the driving range, say, hey, what's up, dude? Don't give each other, high fives and hugs, and walk separately and never talk to each other. Maybe we'll actually do really well.
Yeah, that
And
worked.
then
That
after
worked great. That worked
and then
great last
after
time.
the
We
round,
made it 9.
and then
That worked
after the
really
round,
well.
you can go and watch football, and I'll go and I don't know, drink wine. Like I don't. That sounds terrible. Like
I
I'd
was gonna say,
rather.
I think I'd rather come in DFL and do the way
Exactly.
we
That's my
did
point. It's
than
like
yeah, yeah,
at the end of the day, like golf is not like, sure, we want to get better and we like these tournaments to like prove to ourselves, if we are getting better. And, it's nice to compete and, see how you're doing against other people. But at the end of the day, it's a way for us to hang out. Especially
Yeah,
now
very
that,
much yes.
we live very far away from each other, not very far away, but we
Far
live
enough.
far enough away from each other that we don't see each other, more than, three, 4 times a year. So, um, I'm just excited that there are opportunities for us to hang out more often. And,
Yeah.
if we can play golf during it, hell yeah, why not?
Yeah. And it's perfect timing because I don't know what the NCGA schedule will come out in a couple weeks and we can sit down and circle some stuff
Yeah.
and do it. I mean, I will say, I know we've said this before. It is like it is so much more fun to be able to like do this and also commiserate with you because like it's one of those things like do I think I would have played much better by myself? No, because according to Jen, I shot what 91, even though they're counting even holes we didn't finish, they're giving us a score. It's like, okay, I guess I shot 91.
Yeah.
It's much more fun to be doing this together and sort of commiserating than it is to be doing this by yourselves. Like, I don't know. I would love to get to the point of doing some of this stuff on my own, but that feels like a whole different mountain to climb.
Well, that's why you get a caddy. And hey, man, I'll be your caddy any day. So,
Thanks,
if
buddy.
it ever gets to that point, you know who to
Yeah.
call.
Yeah. It's like, wow, those guys were in DFL in Fresno and now he's playing in the Masters. That's crazy.
Yeah, and like that
And then
idiot,
he, and
like
then he, and then he came in
three
DFL in the
putted.
Masters.
See that idiot putted from 8 feet is now a caddy. All right, cool. Is he just carrying Miller High Lifes in that bag? Maybe.
Jason Day now sponsored by DFL. That's crazy.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Yeah.
I is there anything else? I don't know if this was, an
No.
entertaining podcast for people, but
Yeah. Well,
it's
hey, I
just a
mean, I
conversation
don't
we
mean
were
to,
gonna have.
yeah, I don't mean to sound sassy, but I mean, Chasing Scratch has done like 8 seasons. It's just this conversation over and over again. So I think we can do this a couple times a year. Because here's the deal: like, you might be listening to this being like, I don't know what this means, but it's like we're just trying to give you a sense of like, look, maybe you and your friends sign up and you guys come in third place or you win, and we'd love to hear about it. But it is giving people a sense around like we're two real people who are, 3, 4 handicaps with lives and stuff, and we're just here to say like it's both really fun and really hard, and and hopefully there's some warnings for other people. But I think to bring it to a positive end, the big thing is find your golf buddy who you jive with the most and give it a try. Like definitely give it a try because like I mean we spent a lot of like time, effort, and energy, money, capital to make this weekend happen, and we didn't play well. And in theory, it wasn't very fun, but it was very fun, and we're very happy we did it, if that makes sense. So you should give it a
Yeah,
try.
it's another, it's analogous to life that you need to put yourself out there, and sometimes you're gonna fail, and how you react to that failure is
Yeah.
sometimes much more important than how you succeed and win at something. So
Yeah.
I think I'm so down to do this again, and if we come last, then it is what it is. But it builds character for us. It makes us
Yeah.
um, enjoy life and live life a little bit more. Life's not all about success, and it's something that it's funny. I had to work with our boss this whole weekend, and someone asked us a question of like, what are some things that you've learned from the years of working, and the topic of like being okay with failure, and actually like failure
Yeah.
is something that isn't taught. And sure, like, growing up and competing in sports and, elementary school, middle school, high school, like losing is one thing, but failing is a whole other thing. And I'm not
Hmm.
saying we failed, but if it becomes a tradition of us becoming DFL at all these four balls, it's going to be feel like a failure, and how we react to that might be something to take note of, to monitor,
Yeah.
for the next few years.
But I think the other thing too, and I think this is actually another to go back to what Neil was saying something similar, is I think that the older we get, the less opportunity there is for failure. And there is something that like I'm not asking people to like give us a pat on the back, but like there is something about like, signing up and paying your dues and being like, cool, I don't know how this is gonna go, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. And I think the other thing too, it also helps because like we care about this, but the things we care a lot about are like the cookout and stuff. And like I will say that like I think these experiences make it where like when you're in a, tight match with somebody, the fact that you've been in this situation, like I think that the cookout matches like matter to us more. But like I think that if you were to say like ask the objective person, they'd be like, oh, well, I would assume that these four-ball events are far more pressure packed than like a match with your friend. And I think that just helps us also like actually the stuff that we like really care about, right? Like going to Bandon and like, you won the match play last year. You got your bag off of it, right? It's like, look, would love to win one of these and all this stuff, but I think the big thing too is it also gives us like higher pressure rep so that if it's, you and JD in the final match at Bandon, like you'll be nervous and have feelings, but like cool. You remember when like the wheels were coming off at the four ball and how you battled back? Like it gives you like additional
Yeah.
data points to channel on the way we like to compete, which is mainly amongst our friends and kind of like low stakes matches. It gives us additional like data points to improve at that too. So
Dude, I cannot wait to compete against JD for in the finals. That's gonna be so much fun.
JD's like, could you put tees like the back tees are a little short. Could you like build a new set of
Can you
tees for
like
me?
keep going further back? Can you go to 8,000 yards, please?
Well, I mean, we are there is going to be a contingent of us playing band in it all the way back, so just get prepared for that. He's going to make you do that.
I might play
So
from the up tees.
for like the ones that are like in the middle of the fairway,
Yeah, exactly. I'll just drive every green. No, I won't. God, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
shoots 85 from the middle of the fairway.
Yeah.
Uh, well, Huss, it's always fun to chop it up, and yeah, like we'll look at the calendar, and we'll definitely be doing a few of these next year for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. If I don't talk to you, I'm sure I will, but Merry Christmas. I know this is probably coming out after the
Yeah, this is
holidays.
after, but yeah,
Yeah,
no.
okay. Well, I hope you had a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Um, and a great New Year and
Well, thank you, everyone, and then
oh,
Chris and I will
okay.
continue the conversation.
Yeah,
Peace.
yeah, peace.